Welcome to the Next Level Podcast. Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Next Level Podcast. I'm Felix, and I'm here with Bailey and Mr. Delookinator.
We're here.
And actually, Delook is going to ask us some questions.
Well, I'm taking over again?
Baby.
How about I take over?
All
Because you guys
right.
are the dispo.
Our Visa Bailey's
what
like
the
taking
heck?
over.
All right, I'm taking over.
I don't know about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
All right.
All right, I'm ready.
All right.
All
Couple of experts in their field here. We got the Delookinator, the one and only. He's the agent.
I'm
for
the
this
OG
group.
dispo.
He's the OG dispo. You got Felix. He's the
Yeah.
VP of relationships of dispo. And I wanted to ask you guys a few questions that I think a lot of people will enjoy knowing about how to identify what a good deal is
Ooh.
and what a bad deal is and how to make decisions. Because in this game, I think we all know you have to make decisions very quickly.
Yep.
Because things can be jumped on by another maybe more experienced investor, or maybe you pass on something and I know everybody hates the feeling of kicking themselves like, dang, I should have jumped on that deal. I should have bought it, should have kept it. Yep, teardrop. So I think it'd be a good topic to talk about. So let's start up with Anthony, the Delookinator.
Well,
So-
I'd like to start off by saying I'd like to thank my mom and dad.
Yep. Shout out.
No,
Shout out Rick.
So
So yeah, let's
identifying a good deal.
what is a let's start at the top and work our way down.
All right.
What's a smoking deal to you, Anthony? Like
Okay.
when somebody says
I'd like to preface this with one thing.
okay, let's preface it.
When
Preface.
preface, we're going to talk about what we think is a smoking deal
Okay.
Yeah.
through our eyes, and then we're going to talk about how we think about deals and giving advice towards clients or
Oh,
other
we're
people.
doing the whole YouTube thing where we're
Disclaimer,
like,
it's all
disclaimer,
relative.
this is my opinion. If you want to say
Yeah,
your
we have
opinion,
to.
go in the comment
I'm just
section.
seeing
Agreed.
CNBC.
Yeah.
They disclaim
yeah.
it. They say Jim Cramer, the thoughts and opinions of Jim Cramer do not
Okay.
reflect those of CNBC.
Oh, perfect.
I gotta do that.
Our thoughts and
Your thoughts and opinions.
our thoughts and opinions do not represent Next Level Home Buyers as a company or Investors Link.
And the only reason I say that is because, we're somebody might get some advice, and not that we have a huge viewership, but we do. Hello. And and so, because we take it serious, like a lot of our clients, like they take it as Bible.
Oh yeah.
And if I tell them like it's a good deal, that relationship, that rapport that we've built with them is something we take serious. So that's why I mentioned that.
Yeah.
As far as
It's all relative.
as far as myself, a smoking deal, when somebody says, "Hey, Anthony, this is a smoking deal," and I said, "Oh yeah, that is a smoking deal," it means I'm not going to lose on it at all.
What do you mean by that?
Like absolutely, there's a no lose situation. Like you buy that property, and if the market corrects 20%, or if you run into a huge problem,
I thought everybody says flipping houses is so much risk. What do you mean? How can you not lose?
well, when you do what we do, and we work the deals that we work, we see smoking deals, and it's like a no brainer. It's doesn't matter the experience level. It doesn't matter the condition of the property. It's like it's gotten so deep. You're buying land. You're buying the land value. Like that place could burn down.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. So you're saying
And that doesn't happen often, but that's a smoking deal in my mind.
yeah, it doesn't happen often. But basically, what you're saying is, if you get a house at such a discounted price that regardless you could buy it and then make money if you turn around and sold it, those are deals that are smoking that you
Yeah,
cannot
you could.
lose.
There's literally things that you could sell to another investor and they still make money.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
To me, that would be a smoking deal. Or if you bought it, like we've literally bought properties at land value. So the structure, whatever, like if it disappeared, it's still worth it.
So and those are one of those deals.
I mean, those are like what, like once a year.
That
you
when
see
they pop up, you have to jump on them ASAP, because if somebody else is going to know about that deal, they're going to jump on it.
Yeah, and
You're going to kick yourself later on.
And what happens typically to most people, they can't identify it,
Yep.
so it slips through their fingers because the next guy that walks through with a little bit more experience is like, oh no, that's a smoking deal. I'm buying it.
Yeah. So
and then you kick yourself.
kick yourself, right? So let's talk percentages here from flip perspective. And Felix likes the numbers and the logic behind it. So from that same thought process on that smoke and deal topic. In terms of percentages and profit margins, what percentages are we looking at? Like, and break down exactly how you figure that out.
Okay.
Is it like 15%, 20%, 25?
Well, before I dive into that,
Okay.
I want to say what I consider a smoking deal.
Okay.
You said a lot of people take our stuff as Bibles, right? And that's true, because this is the Holy Trinity, is the profit, the timeline, ROI, the comp, and the location. Okay, if we get those, it's a smoking deal. Because sometimes the ROI is there. Maybe sometimes it'll move quick. If it's something, if we got the comp, we're like, dude, we know it's gonna sell for this. Look, here's the comp. Here's the history. There's the data point already. It's gonna be doable.
Same house that sold a few weeks ago.
Same house, same plan, same location, same square footage. Boom, moved no problem at this price. And you have multiple comps of that. That tells you what? Oh, crap.
So you
That's it
you
right
know
there.
the value.
Right.
Boom.
Location. If it's in a great location, that adds even more, right? You're like, oh, damn, this is a secure neighborhood. This is a secure area. People love this area.
Feeling better about the deal.
Secure neighborhood, schools, safe neighborhood.
Exactly. Timeline.
Okay.
Get it sold ASAP. As soon as it goes on the market, that's what I mean by timeline. Or
Days on
ROI.
market.
Days on market. It's going to be below 30 days.
Less than 30 days.
Less than 30 days.
Okay.
Perfect.
Less than 30 days. And then I think that's it, right? And then profit. The profit. Now, that's where it gets subjective. If it's a fast move, then the profit needs to make sense to you.
But if it's smoking deal, like that profit, what does that look like? Like
20% or more.
Okay, 20%.
I would say
more.
20% or more. 25%. 25% is like
Smoking deal.
no
Because we're talking
brainer.
smoking.
Yeah,
Taco Bell.
exactly.
Yeah.
But location matters too, right? Because say you buy a property.
I mean, if it's a smoking deal, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Because all the stars got to line. Like I get that holy trinity. Like it's got to have check.
Yep. Because you can buy something that's going to make you $100,000.
Smoking deals,
Profit,
checking all
right?
boxes.
But
Yeah.
if it's not in a good location or if it's a slow move, you know?
Yeah. So those are deals you hear about it and you have all your guns prepared and you got to jump on it.
Absolutely.
Those are those deals,
I think those are
which are rare.
Yeah, they're rare. Where you're just like, I'm literally doubling my money.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Makes perfect sense. So what about what's a good deal where you see it and you're like, okay, you can make this work, and sometimes those good deals are like, it would work, but it may not be something I want to do right now.
Yeah, that's where it gets subjective because
Yep.
it depends on the person. Like,
Okay.
a good deal. So smoking deals fits everybody. Like anybody, newbie, experienced, they should be able
across
to
the
grab
board.
They
Yep.
smoke. They're gonna get a smoking deal. They'll do fine.
Everybody wins.
Everybody wins. Good deals. I would say like a good deal would be like if you followed plan. I think we talked about this where you stick to plan. You're like, if I do this, if I bought it for this, if I do this to the property, and I can sell it for this, I'll do good. That's
Okay.
a good deal. But I have to stick to plan. And no surprises can happen. You feel really good and optimistic about it. You might say a good deal could even sell for a little bit more, but if you sold it for the comp value or safely under the comp, you'd still be making money. I'd be like, that's a good deal. You should buy that.
So in what situation would you see a good deal and not jump on it?
For myself,
No, sure, just in general.
I think if it's a good deal and is if I was super busy.
Okay.
And
or
I'm
if
like,
you had to choose between a good deal and a smoking deal.
Oh yeah.
exactly.
Smoking.
Yeah, if I was like either too busy and it's like that's a good deal, but I just don't either I don't have the funds for it right now, or I'm like, or we can always find the funds, but I'm like, it's a good deal, but I'd pass on it.
That's a tricky question because in order for a deal to be a good deal, it's got to meet that criteria too, I think, in my opinion.
And what I would do is I'd be like, hey,
like if it's a good deal, but then
I tell a
you
friend
don't
about
move
it.
on it, then technically it's no longer a good deal.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. I would tell like my friend, hey, there's a good deal, but I have too many good deals right now.
For me, in specifics of a good deal, there necessarily doesn't have to be an exact comp. Like you could be the first property in the area to be the one to like test the waters. But as long as there's data within the past 6 months that contribute to that. You know, maybe there are houses that are smaller or bigger, and from there we can do process of elimination and going, well, we know at least the highest that a smaller house could go for was this, and the lowest that a house that was bigger went for this. So we're somewhere between here, right? And then you can choose the middle point, or you can be safer and go into the lower end, or you could take a risk and go into the higher end.
Mm-hmm.
And the profit has to be there.
Yeah.
There needs to be profit.
I think that's where, when you talk to investors and they have parameters,
Yeah.
they all want a good deal. Like we always say, hey, we're not going to call you up unless it's a good deal.
Yeah.
And the work to profit ratio as well needs to make sense. If you're going to be working a lot, if you're the contractor yourself and you're going to be making all this work, or you're going to have to hire a lot of work out, it's got to be worth it,
Yeah.
because then sometimes you can make a decision between, what do I do? Make 30,000 here, make 50,000 here, but spend all this money and time, or make the same amount and work for less.
Yeah, it's opportunity cost. So on that same, I'm glad you brought that up, because I want to segue into that. So everybody, if anybody sees a smoking deal, there's a saying we have: if it's a great deal, somebody's got the money. If you don't have the funds to try to get under contract. So let's talk about the type of investors that you guys work with. What type of avatar would jump on good deals? Because wouldn't anybody just wait for a smoking deal?
Yeah, but good deals, like people that like the good deals, are people who have it as a career, who only do, like, that's their main job, is to flip houses. Mm-hmm. But if you're just going to do one like on, like one a quarter,
one a year.
Yeah, one a year, and you're somebody that's like, yeah, I flip houses, I do one a year or whatever, then usually those guys are looking for smoking deals.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're talking about profits here that can range anywhere between 25 and like 60,000.
Yeah.
Which, on top of, if they already have a job, that's a big increase in their pay.
Yeah, exactly. But we have guys that are looking for good deals all the time because they're buying all the time because they want 2 or 3 projects at a time.
Or they got to keep their workers busy and stuff.
Yeah, and that's why it's so subjective too, is to what's a good deal and what's a smoking deal, is because some of your guys' clients, they actually do the work themselves, so they can save on costs. So what is a good deal, a decent deal to some person, if they're doing the work and they can save on all these costs, let's say they're even a realtor too, now it becomes a smoking deal. So if depending on, for example, if somebody's a contractor and also a real estate agent in one person, you're going to save on a lot of costs. And now you could turn a good deal into a smoking deal.
Absolutely. And I think that's what's perfect about Investors Link, is that we are the best thing for investors. We elevate all of the investors because we have the ability to get these properties under contract for the specific conditions that they need them under. Mm-hmm. When we lock up a property, we're able to get very specific. That's why we're able to lock up so many properties and sell so many properties, like 6 to 7 a month. And we have people buying from us all the time because we know what they're looking for. We know where they need to be locked up at. We know what it needs to sell at. And we know people's security. We know when we got to get a property, that, hey, you know what, this doesn't fit any of our buyers, or you know what, this is perfect for this individual.
Yeah, and I may be biased, but I think that's what makes you guys so great, is because I heard you guys a conversation the other day. This client that you have really wants her next deal, and she's been consistent with it. And the deal popped up, you showed it to her, and she wanted to jump on it. But I think you guys played the role of, hey, I know you want a deal, but if we do the numbers, this one doesn't make sense for you. We've seen your projects. We know how much work you put into deals, how much money you spend. And in order for you to get this price on the sales side, it just doesn't make sense. So I think that's what's great about Investors Link, is that you guys really look out for people.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's almost like a partnership. Mm-hmm. And we've known that relationships are more important. And like, to go back to that good deal thing, because it could be a good deal, but not for you. Hey, sometimes I'm like, man, I want to get this good deal to X, this person, but that doesn't really fit like what they do well. It's not their strength, but it might really fit this other person.
Yeah, and I think all of our deals are smoking deals because, we get them under contract for what our buyers are looking for.
Yeah, and I think that's what, we work closely with Next Level Home Buyers, or Investors Link. Felix works closely with Next Level Home Buyers. And so they can even bounce ideas off each other, like, hey, this is a property. Is this a smoking deal or a good deal for one of your buyers? Because
100%.
it could be like but it could be a really good deal for another buyer. You're like, because you may be fit in a box, because most people want this certain box. They want, hey, I want my ARV to be, well, the ARV doesn't really matter, but I want to buy, like, I only buy at, if I can't make between 20 and 30, I don't want to see it. Or if I don't make 15 to 25%, I don't want to see, or 20%, like, don't even show it to me. And, you know, you take that and it's like, well, you might take, somebody goes, well, this is 10% of $1 million, which is $100,000.
Yeah.
So you want to pass on $100,000 profit. So we have to find out who that individual is and who has the $1 million to buy the property.
Yeah, and a lot of buyers can get creative too. I mean, we haven't even dove into some buyers who are like, oh yeah, I'll flip it. It's tighter, but I also have plans to build an ADU in the back.
Or I'll split the lot
Or I'll
off.
split the lot. Yeah, people, everybody's boxes are different.
That's where you really make money in this business, is getting creative.
Yeah.
And doing something. Everybody wants to do the same. Like, you can make money on that good deal, like where you buy the house for 100,000 and you put 30,000 into it and you sell it for 225, 250. You're gonna make 30, 40, $50,000. You're gonna do fine. Do a couple of those. I mean, how many people make 6 figures a year with a part-time job? But if you really want to, like, we see some guys hit some, I've seen guys flip properties and buy a property and split it and do blah, 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 do it. And they're making $100,000, $200,000 on one property, one deal.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen it.
And believe it, it happens. I mean, they're making 30, 40% return on their money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if you take the time to really look into like the land codes for your county and things like that, it's possible. You just have to do the work to investigate it.
Yeah, it may take longer, but like Felix was saying, we look at the length of time and the experience of the investor. They got to be able to be willing to put that work in.
Yeah, I know some of your guys' clients, they're, people buy lots around town and put houses on it. But I know a new thing that's been happening is your guys' clients buy lots and they put these brand new, huge mobile manufactured homes on them, and that's a new thing.
Yeah, that's a great. I mean, you have to start thinking outside the box, affordability,
and those guys do well on those.
They're doing super good on those.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get to the last topic of this podcast. Is I know that let's talk about when you see a deal and you're like, nope, I'm going to pass on it. Let's go past the basics. Like, oh yeah, well they're asking a price that's close to market. I got to repair it. I mean, those are the obvious things. But in what situation do you see a deal, whether it's location or foundation or property type or age? What do you guys see when you guys see a property maybe on the underwriting side or it comes across your plate? You see it and it's like, boom, I'm going to pass on it because of XYZ. What is XYZ?
Well, an easy one is mobile homes. They have to be after 1977.
I think it's 8, right?
78.
Yeah.
78. Because if they're below 1978, they're not going to be able to be financed through a traditional, conventional FHA, USDA type loan. And that does what? That
shrinks your buyers.
Shrinks and makes it more niche for a more particular buyer that's looking for cash. But what if it's a mobile home that's a double wide and everything's selling in the area for $215,000? Well, that's going to be really hard. It's going to sit there and then you're probably going to eventually sell it for 150 or something,
Yeah, no, I agree. That's a good parameter to have.
That's an easy one. That's mobile homes.
Okay, age of mobile home,
Age of a mobile home.
1978 plus.
Yep.
Okay.
Location as well.
Like flood zone, maybe?
Flood zones makes things difficult.
How does that make it? Speak on
appraisals.
Flood zone.
Appraisals, the buyers they have to get an extra insurance.
Maybe extra
Insurance.
Okay.
I think
flood zone,
insurance
be
is a
careful
big
for
thing
that.
that people are looking at. That's been like the biggest violator of inflation has been insurance.
Yeah, so like in Yuma on the north side, you got to be careful with that.
Yeah.
Because why paying for extra insurance is important is because you got to think your end consumer is now their payments going to go up even more because
they're all payment focused.
Yep.
They're all payment focused.
And then if it's not in a well located area, now you're looking for somebody that's going to want to pay less, but then that insurance, like you're saying, is going to are they going to be able to afford that?
Yeah, crime rates. We don't have any in Yuma. Like we've dealt with other lenders and we've looked ourselves. Like if there's a certain area where you're like, hey, the crime, like police don't even drive there at night. They're not going to lend.
Yeah.
And if they're not going to lend, then there's no financing, there's no money. That happens, not in Yuma, thank heaven. But there's some streets or there's some blocks where, families are just like, no, I'm not moving there.
Yeah. You got to be conscious of that. Okay.
Condemned areas.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a lot of condemned areas. I think a condemned building would be super difficult. I mean, I wouldn't personally go. I mean, again, it depends on the investor, but like for me personally, and for most of our clients, like a huge project that's going to basically leave one bit, like one wall up and start from scratch. Most people are going to pass on stuff like that, or if it's the age of the home. Because of and we've even done this. We're starting to pass on houses that are like on pier and beam.
Okay. Pier and beam.
Yeah,
Pier
pier
and
and beam, like that are like elevated off of. They don't have a cement platform or foundation. We're passing on those.
Why is that? Why do you pass on those?
Well, they're expensive to repair and a lot of surprises.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Foundation issues.
People
Ton.
don't really look for those either.
You get vertigo walking in there.
Yeah, it's like you roll a
Oh,
marble.
yeah, that happens easily. Yeah.
Yeah.
And unpermitted additions.
Oh, I
Unpermitted
like that
additions.
one, Felix. Yeah, because to reverse the course to permit is more expensive than even the first time you
Yeah.
built it. So you have to basically demo it and then rebuild it. So it's like almost a cost and a half.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that speaks a lot. I'm gonna end. Well, not end, but on the acquisition side, that plays a huge role for us because sellers are like, oh yeah, I enclosed my garage and it adds now it's livable square footage, but it was unpermitted, so no, it
Exactly.
doesn't because
It works
You-
against them.
yeah, it does because now you're gonna have to turn it back in the garage because if you want to get it permitted, you're gonna have to go through the county and they're gonna have to check. You're gonna have to tear everything down. So
Yeah, and that adds value. Like you're in your eyes, acquisitions, you're like, oh, okay, let me take notes. Okay, so you have an additional 800 square feet because you enclosed the patio. It's another bedroom.
yeah,
And so on and so forth. Oh, okay, so you're like, well, now your house is worth 340,000.
There's even
Yep.
people that built a whole entire home.
Yeah, and they're like, you got a kitchen. Oh,
Out of
okay.
brick and this and that.
Yeah, so you calculate it, and then what happens is you dig into it,
yeah.
and you find out, wow, that value's not there anymore.
Yep.
Yeah, and the way you check that, at least in Yuma County, is you go to the Yuma County assessors and you can check the square footage, the plans, things like that. So
Eagle Web.
Eagle Web. We always double check that before, during our underwriting process. That's part of our process, because somebody can say one thing, but the county records, that's what people go off. That's what the end consumer is going to go off of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I think that's a smart move.
Yeah. Okay. So to recap, things to look out for is age of mobile homes, foundation, flood zones, unpermitted additions,
Locations.
locations.
Yeah,
Okay.
heavy crime.
Anything else that you guys look out for?
I'm sure there are, but that's all I can think of right now. I think those are like the big ones.
Okay. Those are the major ones.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think as an investor decides what they want to do, those are a good place to start
Yep.
because because it's going to affect the end buyer. Like you got to think, I got to resell this property. You're not going to hang on to this property forever. So I would take a look at all that, and plus they affect cost. And so I would start there, and then you can decide how big a project you want or how small your project you can handle from there.
Okay. Awesome. So to recap, smoking deal is one of those deals where you cannot lose. You buy it, you're making money. Once you buy it, like you don't have to do any repairs, you could sell it. You're not going to lose. That's a smoking deal. You got to jump on those. Percentage of profit is 25%. Those are rare. Jump on them. Find a way. Somehow, some way, find a way to get that, to
Yep.
buy that deal if it comes
Yep.
across your plate.
Amen.
Amen. So a good deal is a deal that, okay, if there's no surprises, if I do according to my plan on the renovations, I can the profit's still there, but I'll cross my fingers for no surprises. That's a
Right.
good deal. And it's all relative. This is all relative. Again, disclaimer. So that's a good deal. Sometimes you can make a good deal into a great deal if you can get creative, or if you have these other specs, like you're a contractor or an agent, you can save costs. Okay, that's a good deal. A bad deal is maybe it fits one of those boxes that you guys have talked about, and as soon as you see those parameters, pass on it.
Yeah, pass.
Pass on it. Okay, amazing. Well, this is super insightful.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
had fun.
baby.
We
Yeah.
love talking about this. This is what we do. We talk shop. It's fun because you're like identifying a deal. Is this, you're trying to figure it out? It's like putting a puzzle together.
Yeah.
Is this going to work? Or am I leaving money? Am I missing something? So this is what really, that's what really excites me about this. Do the number. I know Felix likes the numbers. Bailey's always trying to, squeeze the juice out of the lemon. And, because they only have so many at bats. And so you only have so many people that come across that want to sell their property. And so we have to put it all together. It's a lot of fun. And as you get involved in investing, you start to be able to put that together yourself. And if you don't, or if you're not there yet, give us a call. We'll
Yep.
help you out.
Happy to help.
Ring, ring.
Yeah. All right. Cool. You want to end this
Yeah,
out?
yeah. So we're next level home buyers. We don't buy properties.
We buy problems.
Yeah.